Um, hello, Doc, alcoholic addict, amongst other things.
DOC?
Yay. And welcome to another fantastic edition of Sober School. Last week we talked about toxic relationships. Yeah, and it's super good to be able to recognize toxic relationships and toxic traits to even healthy relationships when we see them. That is super, super important. But if we don't learn what a healthy relationship consists of, or the attributes of a healthy relationship, based on my research, okay, I know that's a toxic trait, so I'm not going to date chicks like that anymore. And what happened was I just dated a bunch of new and different types of toxic chicks. Being able to recognize toxic traits is different from knowing what healthy looks like, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be discussing the traits of non-toxic relationships. All right, have you ever dated anyone who wanted to see your phone, or like your Facebook Messenger, or know exactly where you were at, or you were at the store, where's your receipt, or type shit. Well, that kind of falls under, and you shouldn't be, as long as you're not on some BS, that shouldn't be a huge issue. However, one of the attributes of a healthy relationship is trust without constant proof. All right, because a healthy relationship needs to be built on trust. You shouldn't have to constantly prove your loyalty, explain every interaction, or defend innocent behavior. Trust means giving each other reasonable freedom without suspicion controlling the relationship. And especially, we do need to take into account both our and the person we're in relationships with. And this goes above and beyond just interpersonal relationships. This is work relationships and stuff too. If the last 3 guys your boss hired ended up stealing tools from the job, okay, him wanting to look in your backpack is a little bit more understandable. Okay, so we need to be understanding of that. On that trust but verify type shit. But if that, we don't want it to become the norm. Okay, we need to establish a healthy trusting relationship, because we want them to know. We don't want to have to sell them on the fact that we're trustworthy. We want them to know that we're trustworthy. We want to know that we can trust them. And a big part of that is honest and safe communication. Communication is so crucial to any healthy relationship. We need to know we can express feelings honestly without fear of repercussion. Because oh man, I hate when she trims her toenails in bed, but I'm not going to say anything. Or and if it's something you can accept and you don't really mind, sure. But if it's something that really bothers you, you need to, man, I've got a thing, or I got a texture issue, and I feel one of your claws rubbing up against my leg, and it freaks me out. If there's any way you could do that in the bathroom, okay. We need to be able to talk about that stuff. Or hey, or if they're doing something, but both people, not just you and the other person, need to be able to express feelings, needs, fears, disagreements without being mocked or threatened or ignored or punished.
It's setting healthy boundaries.
Yeah, well, that is, we need to be able to set healthy boundaries, and we'll talk about that. But if you can't communicate effectively, you're not setting anything. and communication is not about always agreeing on everything, but we need to be able to use our words, you know, and I don't know. Oftentimes there can be, you can be dismissive, you know, like, oh, you're being too sensitive about something. That's not really and maybe they are being hypersensitive, but being dismissive of them trying to honestly and openly communicate with you is not what honest, safe communication is all about. It's about being able to even disagree safely. And that speaks a lot to kind of a prerequisite almost for honest and safe communication is a degree of mutual respect. Because you've got to care, and they should care about you. Like so much of any healthy relationships is just giving a crap. Quite honestly, like not just you hear her talking, and you're like kind of glazing over and kind of trying to focus on Sports Center in the background. That's not respectful. And granted, far be it from me to make broad generalizations or generalizations about broads. However, these sort of stories typically guys tell follow a different form and structure from the way female might typically express a story. A lot more larger cast, based on my personal research, usually a larger cast of characters and a lot of twists and turns. And dudes are more two-dimensional and direct. Yeah, I saw Carl at the store. What'd you guys talk about? Nothing. How's he doing? He's all right. Like that's a typical dude story. You might get a little bit more background information on the characters if a woman is telling that story. Oh, Carl, yeah, he was dating this one chick for a long time, and then she cheated on him, and then Carl got back with his ex, and like, yeah. But you're telling the same story about the same person, in essence, in a different way, and we need to respect modes of communication. We need to respect each other's. We should do a class on like love languages. How we express affection is different, and ideally should be compatible. Like if the way you feel loved is acts of service, or the way you show love is acts of service. Like I show that I care. It's a big one for me. Acts of service. Like I'm gonna do stuff for you. I'm gonna show you I care about you by doing stuff for you. Certain people, they like to get stuff, like thoughtful gifts, maybe a Maserati. You know, like some people that really makes them feel. That's their ideal love language. It makes them feel loved. And
Really thoughtful.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
not
you.
wrong.
well, I remember you. See, last year I remember you talking about how much you wanted a Maserati. So I've been saving up all year, and I got you one. It's a thoughtful gift. You know.
Yeah.
But these we need to know we should know what our love languages are, and we should know, like, really, if you respect the person, you want to know what their love languages are. So physical touch, you know, just like snuggles, you know, not the struggle snuggle necessarily, but like the just touch, back rub, you know, like holding hands. Sometimes that's huge for people. I like snuggles, you know. We've talked about this, but if you respect the person and they respect you, like knowing each other's ideal love language and the way they express love and the way they appreciate love to be expressed to them should be at least established for as part of mutual respect. I mean, you want to treat your partner's feelings, opinions, boundaries, time, property, and individuality as if they're important. You know, like if they got, I'm trying to think of a good example. You know, if they got like something they really like, maybe they're really into hula hoop, okay, and you don't give two craps about hula hooping. But if that's really important to them, that's like, hey, I'm really, like, we talk about plenty of stuff. Like most women aren't really into talking about industrial maintenance or app design, you know. But typically, okay, if they respect me, they will let me. I should try and be respectful and not just drone on about for like an hour about hydraulic pressure or finer points of the ideal platforms for developing different types of apps. That would be disrespectful. But like if they truly respect me and care, okay, I will listen, even though I don't necessarily give a crap. Like, you have something to say, I will receive it. Like, a big one is just part of mutual respect is, and you'll find that often, well, really with anyone, but typically being heard, feeling heard is really important for interpersonal relationships. They don't just you listen. Okay, were you even paying attention? Yeah, you saw Carl at the store. Okay, yeah, you can parrot back that. But were you engaged? Were you hearing what they were saying? And if you respect them, you want them to feel heard, just as you would want to feel heard. And even if you don't completely understand or agree with what they're talking about, if they have an opinion on something, they should be able to. If you respect them, they should let them voice their opinion. Their opinion could be wrong, or at least in your opinion, that's dumb, you know. But they have a right to their opinion. If you respect them, they should be able to voice said opinion. And going back to the importance of healthy boundaries. All right, like, if, like, say she's expressing her opinion on politics or something, and you don't like, I really don't want to talk about politics. It's too depressing. Like, it makes me anxious or angry. Okay. Hey, like, I care about you. I hear your opinion and stuff. But talking about politics all the time, it hurts my heart. It makes me anxious, or I should be able to set a healthy boundary, as should they. You know, if there is something that you're doing or talking about that troubles them, or makes them feel less than, or makes them sad, they should be, when you do that, that's where healthy boundaries and I feel statements kind of go hand in hand. And it touches back with communication, mutual respect, and boundaries. It's like, when you do this, when you post all those feet pics on OnlyFans, it makes me feel this way. Yeah. And I understand you're trying to pay the insurance on that Maserati I got you. However, like, it's kind of a deal breaker for me. I should be able to set that boundary. And if I was selling feet pics and they didn't like it, they should be able to express, hey, I'd really like you to delete your Grindr profile. You know, like, whatever. If that's the way they feel, if that is a deal breaker for them, if they should be able to set that boundary. You know, I know. There's always Craigslist. No. But and just, you totally love somebody, like deeply with all your heart. But that doesn't eliminate the need for healthy boundaries. Each person needs to be allowed privacy, friendships. Like you need to have be able to have get your bros. You know, that doesn't mean like, oh yeah, we go hang out and watch sports every night, because that's kind of disrespectful. You're not giving quality time, but we should be allowed to have friends. Like if you're friends with somebody, have been for years, and you get with somebody else, should you have to, okay, well no, she doesn't like Carl, so I can't be friends with Carl anymore. You should be like, and if there is, like, oh, well, Carl's always trying to get you to go to the strip club. Okay, that's her expressing a healthy boundary. Okay, let's do some healthy communications, honest, safe communication, and show some mutual respect. Like I've known Carl since I was knee high to a knee. I really like spending time with him. How about this? We set it as a rule. I can hang out with Carl, but we can't go to Danzig's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why ain't hanging out with Carl no more?
Yeah, well.
Might have group working needs.
Yeah, well, it's always YouTube. But we need to be able to have these friendships. We need to be able to have interests, like our own interests, like just how like she's really into hula hooping, and you're not. Maybe you like sports ball or whatever. Really big into hockey or cars. Like or whatever it is, you should be able to have your own interests and share without being burdensome or being too overwhelming. If they do show interest, be mindful. Okay, she's I feel she's kind of glazing over here, like, because I don't know, some of the stuff I talk about. I'm talking about science or nuclear physics or something. That's not everybody's cup of tea. And I know hearing myself talk makes my brain hurt sometimes. I can only imagine. Like I can be a lot. I need to be mindful of that. But the ability to say no is crucial. Like honestly, in most things, this is kind of above and beyond this group. Really, the default answer should almost always be no. You should, to pretty much any question, and then you should, okay, that's the default. Let's see if we can find a reason to say yes. I personally have a big problem of I'm an American, not an Americant. I'm about, okay, I don't like saying no. But that's a boundary that I've had to learn. That's some open communication that I had to learn to be able to advocate for myself, because I don't like saying no. But I've had to learn to, I set no as the default, and then I work backwards and find a justification to say yes. I used to be like, oh yeah, absolutely. Can you do this? Yes. And oftentimes I would get it done, but to my detriment. We need to be able to like, are you cool? Are you cool with me posting feet pics on OnlyFans? No. Maybe I could work backwards and maybe find a way to justify saying yes. Okay, yeah, I realize we can't afford the insurance on your Maserati unless you do that. I'll maybe look into a second job, so feet pics are no longer necessary. But no should be not looked at as like this. No shouldn't be a four-letter word. We should be able to say no. We need to be able to say no in a healthy relationship if we have a reason. But I find it helpful for myself personally to just set the default as no and then work backwards from that. Okay. And then find a reason to say yes rather than just being a yes man. Because the boundary it's not a punishment. It's an explanation of what you will and won't participate in. It is something that's been really hard for me, and it's still hard for me. I've done a lot of work in this, a lot of I've looked into these things. I've done research, watched a lot of videos, read a lot of books. But it doesn't necessarily make it easy. Like, I have to set boundaries recently, and it's still hard for me. But that's who I am. Like, we talked about codependent relationships last week, and how the ups and downs associated with codependent relationships release the same chemicals in our brain as cocaine use. Like the whole, when things are good, they're super, super great, and then things are bad, they're like, things are getting thrown and stuff's getting broken and cops are probably getting called. But it's the hyperbolic nature of it, the ups and downs, or to the degree our brain perceives difference, it perceives change. So, okay, like she just got done like keying my car and slashing all my tires, and now she's not yelling. Okay, and my brain perceives that, okay, I'm winning. When really, that's like, I'm not even to baseline yet. It was just, the low was so low, the change in behavior back to just not yelling, I'm still below baseline, but my brain perceives it as, oh, it's a good day. Like, dopamine, norepinephrine, also associated with compulsive gambling. But yeah, it's the adrenaline rush. And kind of sidebar here, one of the things they've found that makes gambling so addictive is not necessarily the feeling when you win. It's more what reinforces it more is that adrenaline, the norepinephrine is the adrenaline rush and the pit of your stomach feeling when you lose is what origamis that shit in your brain so much. And oh man, they're like, oh, I'm down 300, and then I like, oh, I came up 20. And I'm still down $280, but my brain's perceiving this as a win because I'm registering the change. We need to have individuality instead of codependence. Like a healthy relationship consists of two people sharing their lives, like a team, not like one person carrying the other, or vice versa. There is going to be times in any relationship, because not every day is Disneyland. There's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be some times where if you care and respect the other person, they're going to need lifted up. Oh, you had a hard day at work. Yes, we'll talk about this after class. No, but hey, but that's not a, well, that's a little too far off. But like, well, maybe she had a hard day. Maybe she needs a back rub. Maybe she needs a mouth hug. I don't know. But you being willing to, I recognized you had a hard day. Being willing to be a teammate, be a team player, because that's what it's about. For a healthy relationship that's going to grow, because you can kind of make almost any relationship work. But that doesn't make it healthy. But
Hey, Doc.
Yeah.
A real healthy relationship is not 50-50, it's 100 and 100, right?
A lot more to that effect, or at least 60-60.
Yeah.
That brings us to like this healthy relationship is two people sharing their lives as a team, working together, not two people becoming responsible for completing, rescuing, or fixing, or regulating each other. We need to be willing to help out when necessary, but if that is the norm, she can't leave the house, so I gotta go do everything, or so on and so forth. That falls into last week's category. this what you're talking about is reciprocity. There's an integer that we can create of effort. Okay, I even have a visual aid.
Oh,
Yeah.
hours.
I was going to do it on the board, but there's too much stuff on the board. All right, so here's our reciprocity integer right here. Here's you giving 100%. You're carrying the relationship. Like you gotta kowtow her to her whims and wills and desires and make sure she's happy and buy her Maseratis. Otherwise, she slashes your tires and breaks your windows. That's this type of relationship. We've kind of been, I know I have been on this other side of the thing where like, oh, I'm an alcoholic or an addict, and the other person has to, I gotta make sure, gotta have a bottle stash that he can't find, so that when he wakes up with the DTs and stuff, I know I've got something set aside so he can regulate and maybe hopefully, fingers crossed, make it to work today. Yeah, on either extreme, that is not a healthy relationship, and you can probably you can make a 90-10 relationship work for a
minute.
well, even for years, but at what cost?
Right.
That is draining you. That is taking away from you. It's taking away. You're not going to grow if you're covering this relationship deficit. And ideally, somewhere in the middle, 50-50 is a happy spot. But if I'm given, like, there's going to be days when she had a bad day and she's here or here, and okay, give her a back rub, or let's watch The Notebook. I know you love that movie, and it's going to make her feel better. Or give her a mouth hug, whatever. And there's going to be days, but man, you got beat to hell at work, and it's like you can only give maybe 30-40%. Like you just moved 80 stackable washers and dryers, and you can barely move. Maybe she'll help take your boots off, and make you a Hunger Man TV dinner, and serve it to you on the couch. Like she's willing to give a little bit extra. And meet you there. That shouldn't be the norm. Ideally, if you were averaging that, okay, I'm willing to give 60% effort, and if she's willing to give 60% effort, that's a relationship that's going to grow. Like 50-50 should be the starting point. Okay, we should at least match effort, and that'll be a pretty that'll be an all right relationship. Well, we match effort. Meet in the middle. But truly healthy relationships that grow, so if she's given 60% and you're given 60%, that's 120%. So that's all the needs met, plus 20% for growth. That's a relationship that's going to grow. And it takes reciprocity to do that. It is not... And ideally, that's what we should all be looking for. And there is going to be some aspects. This sort of integer can be applied to, like this is just an average. All right. There's going to be maybe you're better at some things than she is. Maybe she's better at some things than you are. Okay. As far as moving furniture, I'll do this much. When it comes to meal planning and making sure the bills get paid, maybe she does this much, but this can be applied to but on an average, we'd like reciprocity at 50-50 with a surplus for a relationship to grow. But this can be applied to work as well, to really any relationship. If you're I don't know. I personally had jobs where I feel like I'm carrying the team. I had a mild heart attack on my 21st birthday. Like, working at Target, and we had to.
That's probably why.
Well, yeah. But like, we don't. There's a crew unloading the truck, stacking on pallets by department, and then we take the pallets to their department, and then we'd bowl out. Basically, take the boxes and put them down the aisle where the stuff goes for the stockers to work their way around the store, and put on the shelves, and stack up overstock. It goes to the overstock room. They got a great system there. But it got to the point where I was pulling helping me and like maybe 2 other people were pulling all the pallets, and then I would bowl out half the store before anybody would come to help me. And like, I'm a little bit too agreeable. I think I was on ephedra and a bunch of other like weird supplements at that point. Yeah. I converted it into a liquid form with some amino acids, and yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, like I did. It was like a 2,200 piece truck. That's 2,200 boxes, and I bowled out pretty much all myself. And then, like I got done bowling out, and I was starting to stock, and my ears were ringing a little bit. I can't imagine why. My boss came up behind me and put his hand on my shoulder. He's like, "How you doing, Mike?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And just had a heart attack. I still rode a mechanical bull that night, but I don't recommend it. I was giving too much of myself. Like I was like, I was doing 90% of the work, and that's not sustainable. There could be times when you got to give like even more than 60%. And if it's a healthy relationship and you truly care and respect them, you should be willing to make up the difference.
So if it's healthy, it won't give you a heart attack?
I'm not making any guarantees, but sometimes if it's super healthy, it'll definitely give you a heart attack. But there needs to be accountability and genuine apologies if somebody feels like, if you express a boundary or use an I feel statement, like yeah, I thought we already talked about this. When you keep posting feet pics on OnlyFans, it hurts me. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then I gotta go to the bathroom, and then she posts more feet pics. You know, that's not a genuine apology. It's really easy to say I'm sorry. What we need to do is, okay, when they say there needs to be an associated change in behavior, we need to. That's how you show you're sorry. That's how you show you mean it, because that's what makes it genuine. Because everybody makes mistakes, and healthy partners can say, "I was wrong," or "I'm sorry I hurt you. What can I do differently?" That's where communication comes back into it again. Okay, I'm sorry I made you, like, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry I made you, what my actions made you feel that way. That's a huge difference. Like, like when you say I'm sorry that hurt your feelings. That's not the same thing as I'm sorry. We need to take accountability. We need to take, I'm sorry what I did made you feel that way, because I did do the action. And feelings are valid. Like, they could be misplaced, or it could be a misunderstanding, but what you're feeling, what they're feeling, is valid. An apology becomes meaningful only when the corresponding behavior changes accordingly. Another big one, conflict without cruelty. Like, you will have disagreements about things. 100%. That is not an if scenario. That is a when scenario. How you handle those disagreements, if it does not have to devolve to slashing tires or throwing stuff, name calling. In a healthy relationship, none of that should occur. Yeah, oh, wow, yeah, you feel really strongly about something, and they feel really strongly about something. Like, arguments are going to happen if the things you feel about are in conflict. But a healthy relationship should not involve insults, humiliation, intimidation, threats, manipulation, violence. Absolutely not. Or deliberately exploiting someone else's vulnerabilities. The goal should be solely solving the problem, not defeating. No, you don't want to. You not winning the argument. You've got two choices. You can either be right all the time or you can be happy. There's not a third option. Right? And even if your point is valid, if your goal is to win the argument, you've kind of already lost. You're not in it. That's not a healthy relationship dynamic if you're trying to defeat the person you're in a relationship with, and it never will be. But we need to be supportive of each other, like without enabling, and that's a fine line. Sometimes that's something I've had to struggle with personally. Like, supporting someone doesn't mean protecting them from every consequence of their choices. Like, her boss found out she was posting pictures on OnlyFans, and she got fired from the doctor's office she worked at. You know, okay, we did already talk about this, but sometimes love means encouragement and compassion. Sometimes it means allowing someone to experience consequences and take responsibility. We need to be. Sometimes stuff happens. Sometimes we all mess up. Like, be there to catch you if you fall. It's something I say all the time in the house. Is like, if you're trying to learn how to walk, me carrying you is not doing you any favors at all. I'll be there to catch you.
I'll be there to kick you.
Yeah, well. If you're having trouble getting up, I might kick you if that's required medically. But I will be there. If you fall, I will help you get back up. I will help you get back on your feet 100% of the time. Ideally, I'll try and catch you so you don't wind up falling all the way. But if you are trying to learn how to walk on your own, me carrying you is actually doing you a disservice.
You can't beat the training wheels.
No.
What about jealousy?
Well, jealousy is more like I've dealt with that's more last week's class topic. Like, I've dealt with I've been in a relationship with a girl while I was running the house, and she did not like that I was running the house. Well, because I care about you guys, and like, you guys should be super nice to the seniors, because this is a lot for anyone. Like, I know it was a lot for me, but it was the next right thing to do. It was something I cared about. But I was still making a bunch of meetings. She didn't particularly care for how many meetings I was making. Like, well, I'm setting an example, and I'm putting my recovery first. And yes, I do have to answer a lot of calls and texts from a lot of alcoholics and addicts. But it's important to me. You guys are important to me. Like, being able to share my experience, strength, and hope with you guys is truly important to me. And if I'm in a relationship with somebody who respects me and uh, like that's and respects my individuality. Like my recovery is very important to me. Like supporting you guys in your recovery is very important to me. And if I'm in a healthy relationship, that should be respected. Or possibly one could make the case admired. You know, like I'm not looking for that, but like I see what I hope what I'm doing is a good thing. And like it. But another big one is we talk a lot about trust and jealousy is emotional safety and vulnerability. If you're worried about something, you should be able to reveal that to a person. If you went through some stuff, you should be able to talk to about it. If you're in a healthy relationship, a non-toxic relationship, you should be able to like talk about the stuff you've been through without it being held against you. Because that's not a healthy relationship. Trust is mostly vulnerability, allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And you should be able to do that if you're in a non-toxic relationship. Be able to reveal your fears, insecurities, mistakes, hopes, and dreams without expecting them to later be weaponized against you. The vulnerability grows when people learn it's safe for me to be honest here. If I'm worried about something's on my heart, I should be able to tell her or them. You know, and this goes above and beyond interpersonal relationships. This is work relationships. This is recovery relationships. Like, man, you need to be able to say, hey, man, I'm having fucked up thoughts. I feathered the brakes driving past the liquor store. I was eyeballing that bike rack a little bit too hard, or fucking nearly took saw an anhydrous truck on the side of the road and nearly made a detour, you know? Like I need to be able to, man, yeah, I'm struggling. If any of you guys are struggling, you need to be able to don't just tell everybody, but you need to have somebody that you can tell, man, I'm worried about this. This is weighing on my heart. I feel this way. I'm super sad right now. Man, I've been really, my cat died. My old cat. He, like, my old boss had him in a barn and stuff, and he was really, really in rough shape. And he was like 12 or 13. He died on Friday. And I'll tell you, I'm super sad about that. He was my buddy. We've been through a lot. Like had him when I was homeless and sleeping in the Subaru and stuff. He made through all that. And I'm telling you, I'm still super. I still see like a shape out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like go to look for him, and it's not him. That makes me sad. And I need to be. It's important for me to be able to be vulnerable and tell you guys about that, or tell anybody about that, if our relationship is healthy. But what you're really looking for is growth rather than control. Healthy partners encourage one another to become healthier, stronger, and more independent. Like this whole jealousy and controlling relationships, they shrink your world. Oh, it's okay if you hang out, but you can only hang out between, like, if they're setting about, yeah, you can only hang out between the hours of 6 and 7 with these 5 people. Okay.
Sounds like probation.
Yeah.
House arrest.
Sounds a lot like probation or house arrest, which I would not categorize that as a healthy relationship necessarily. But if it's a truly a healthy relationship, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Like I'm doing good and growing, they're doing good and growing, but if this is truly a healthy relationship, us together achieve something, equals something greater than either of us separately. That's that reciprocal surplus we were talking about. That's what growth looks like. Okay, well, I can do a lot by myself, and they can do a lot by themselves, but what we can accomplish together is truly something amazing, something more than what we could accomplish independently.
You turn a number 3 into a 69.
Yeah.
That's a huge leap. You know what I
Yes, absolutely. Way better than a 68, and I'll owe you one. You know. But love is demonstrated through behavior, like the willingness, saying I love you, making sure they know that matters. Like it's important for me to let you know, hey, I love you guys, I care about you guys.
mean? I mean, it matters.
Yeah. But I say, oh yeah, I really care about you guys, but then I just don't teach class anymore or show up anymore. They're like, I want my behavior to match what I'm saying. Right? They don't not pay me enough to keep doing this for as long as I've been doing it if I didn't truly care about it and my behaviors match what I'm saying. But yeah, saying I love you matters, but consistent behavior matters a hell of a lot more. Respect, honesty, reliability,
Accountability.
what?
Accountability.
Accountability, affection, and showing up repeatedly are what make love something a person can actually experience. Because in interpersonal relationships, it really comes down to one question. The question is not. The question is not, do I love this person, right? Or do I like this boss, or is this a good sponsor for me? That's not the question. The question we need to ask ourselves is, who do I become when I'm in this relationship? Like, because if you're either part of you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. The Heraclitus, the only constant is change. So if you're not actively getting better, you are actively getting worse. It's another one of those things where there's no third option. Like, is this relationship something I'm carrying or something that is helping me grow? And a healthy relationship should require either person to abandon themselves in order to keep the other. We shouldn't have to lose that, but there's really, as far as last week's class and this week's class, there's what's called a dichotomy. It's either this way or that way. There's really two types of relationships. And the two types of relationships are need to give them what they want or want to give them what they need. We want the other one. We want that last one. That's what we're looking for. And that's all I got.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.